You know, he can't really handle the fact that, like, I'm a boss bitch. You know, he wants a life where the power gets cut out for 4 hours a day, where he has an outhouse, and when he doesn't feel like going to the outhouse in the middle of the night, he pisses in a bucket next to his bed. You know, mice eating through his clothes. Like, that's the life he desires. He is welcome to it. I called on every single ancestor, every single deity, every spirit guide that has my best interest at heart, and I said, these are all the things that I want from my husband. If he is not able to give them to me, please replace him. And he didn't come home last night. And so that's the only time he's ever done that. So I have to feel like that is God.
From cheating scandals to stolen cash, from drugs to allegations of abuse, from mistresses to $100,000 dating services, and of all things, a TikTok incident that proved to be the final straw. What on earth has happened to Daniele and Yohan since we last saw them on our screens? Yeah, it's safe to say that this story has taken some unexpected, dramatic turns. As I'm sure you recall, from literally the first time we saw them, there were red flags everywhere. Daniele, then a 42-year-old yoga instructor and high school history teacher from New York, was on her 5th vacation to the Dominican Republic when she spotted Yohan walking through her hotel lobby.
When I saw him, the first thing I said was, I'm going to marry this man. Like, that's the one. And I remember pointing. We could not be more different humans.
Yeah, she wasn't kidding about them being different. Like, from height to age to finances, kids, religion, you name it. These two were different in every area, every aspect of life. But regardless, after being in a relationship for just 5 months, spending only 3 weeks together in person, despite the numerous warnings from her friends that Yohan may only be a sanky-panky, they ended up tying the knot. And it was at that point that everything went downhill fast. Now, this was Danielle's 3rd marriage, Yohan's 1st, but Yohan had entered into the marriage expecting to move to America. His plan, in fact, what had been agreed between him and Danielle, is that they'd move to America, he'd work in America, and send money back home to help his family. Only, without consulting him, Danielle completely changed her mind.
Whether or not Yohan understands this is where we're living, because he can't go to the United States without me, and if I don't want to go, I don't want to go.
Danielle quit her job as a teacher, took early retirement, and moved permanently to the DR. Like, she completely blindsided Yohan, and she had zero remorse. Now, keep in mind, Danielle had been working as a teacher for 19 years. Had she stayed in the job for 1 extra year, so 20 years in total, her pension would have increased by $15,000 a year. Now, we're going to come back to talk about her precarious finances in a second, but at the time, despite literally filing for bankruptcy because of her unsuccessful yoga business, she played that off. She played off an extra $15,000 a year as if it was nothing. It would mean nothing to her.
Like, an extra $15,000 a year when I'm 63 isn't going to be that meaningful to me.
This is such a big deal. Man, this is such a big deal.
For someone like Yohan, who, let's not forget, came from very humble beginnings, who shared a house with all of his family and had no running water, who worked full-time for just $128 a month, what Danielle had just done was unfathomable. He resented not being able to go to America. Like, his goal was always to try and better himself, to try and earn more money for himself and his family. He made no secret of that. Heck, the $sign was even tattooed on his forearm. Now, needless to say, before too long, finances became a very big problem in their marriage. Danielle began exerting her financial muscle. There was a very clear imbalance in the power dynamic here because she was so much wealthier. She began emasculating and ridiculing Yohan and his efforts to try and make money.
Yo pagar por todo, tú no necesitas hacer las cosas. Tú estás mi esposa. So, ¿cómo estás? Es un negocio. I think you are doing an amazing job with this business. You clearly have manifested 20,000 pesos. You did it well, and I'm really proud of you. Even my magic is not this good.
Yeah, it was a deeply toxic marriage. Like, Danielle was the one that was paying for everything. Their apartment, utilities, food, their cars, you name it, she footed the bill. And yet, there was resentment on both sides because of this. She wanted Yohan to contribute more, and he felt emasculated when he couldn't. I mean, he didn't want to even be in the Dominican Republic. He wanted to be in the States so that he could earn more. But this is where things reached a breaking point. You see, while Danielle was away on a spiritual retreat, she noticed a series of bank withdrawals from her bank account that she didn't authorise or recognise. When she investigated them, she found out that Yohan had been withdrawing money from her accounts without her permission. When she confronted him about this, he initially denied it, but then when shown the evidence, he came clean. Now, he tried to defend himself by saying,
Somos una pareja, yo soy su esposo. Yo creo en el matrimonio. Lo que es mío es tuyo. No existe el que tú robarle a tu esposa.
But that, understandably, didn't cut it for Danielle. Her husband had stolen from her. She was furious and kicked him out of the house. Now, while they did reconcile shortly after, for a very brief period of time, the damage had already been done. And in fact, it even got worse. You see, in late November 2023, so 2 years after their November 21 wedding, a woman contacted Danielle with devastating information. She'd been in a relationship with Yohan for 2 years, starting the month before their wedding. Like, just let that sink in. He began sleeping with this other woman 1 month before marrying Danielle. Now, the details were damning. This mistress had not only met Yohan's father and his nephew, she'd also been sending Yohan money and had been sleeping with Yohan throughout his marriage to Danielle. Like, this woman even sent Danielle the explicit photos that Yohan had been sending her whilst right next to Danielle.
Every time she saw him, sent me pictures that he sent her. One of them was a picture of his on Christmas Eve while I was handing out gifts to his family in his neighborhood. Really.
As it turned out, this, according to Danielle, was just the tip of the iceberg. She claimed, and remember, she still had access to his Instagram because she was the one that set it up and Yohan had never changed his password. She claimed that he'd been sleeping with 5 or 6 other women throughout their relationship, but had also been messaging 50 or 60 others on top of that, with explicit messages and requests for money. All in all, Danielle was convinced that he was sleeping with up to 6 women, one of which was also a client of hers, and he was getting money from up to 60 different women. Now, Yohan point blank denied this, in what proved to be quite a fiery dramatic tell-all, including when one of the women he'd been messaging actually confronted him. He point blank denied it all. Unless you've physically got a video of me sleeping with another woman, he said, then I didn't do anything. I don't care what any of you think.
Me importa lo que piensa el grupo de gente ahí. Me importa una Yo sé lo quien yo soy. Para el diablo después de ir.
Now, Danielle vowed that she was gonna get a divorce. It seemed over, right? Case closed. Except it wasn't. You see, while this was the last time we saw them both on our screens, what's happened since is absolutely mind-blowing. So, shortly after they split up, Danielle took to social media with a pretty serious accusation against Yohan.
He loves you. Is he cheating on you? Is he putting his hands on you? You sound so resentful right now, Hugs. Yes, he is cheating on me. And is he putting his hands on me? He has, but, you know, it was once. And I kind of moved on.
Yeah, I mean, she's doing it in a casual way, downplaying it almost, but that's a very serious accusation. Physical abuse. He put hands on her. Now, to be clear, she's never explained what exactly happened here, but she has made other abuse accusations as well.
This is an example of abuse. I'm not allowed to drive the car out of the parking lot because if I drive it, I might crash it, even though the only person that's ever gotten into accidents is him, and there have been 3 of them. But I'm a woman, so I can't drive this car that he rented and I paid for out of the parking lot. And it's also not safe in Santo Domingo for me to walk to the store, so I just have to sit here in this car that he rented with no air conditioning and die of heat exhaustion.
Now, while we only have Danielle's word on the things that she's accused him of, like we don't have Yohan's version of events, so we don't have the full story here. That whole car issue is something that you may recall cropped up on the show itself. Yohan was pretty clear he didn't want Danielle to drive. Now, shortly after those Instagram videos, Danielle again took to Instagram, claiming that she wants a divorce, but Yohan is delaying things. Quote, "I keep being played with." Now, threateningly, she then took to Yohan's Instagram, posting a photo of herself, seemingly to remind the world and Yohan that she still has access to his account, with the caption, "When your husband refuses to divorce you but doesn't know how to change their Instagram password, and now all of their messages to men and women have been screenshotted. Can one of you guys help me with a divorce? Thanks." That's quite the message, quite the power play that she's pulling there, and posting that on Yohan's Instagram. Now, shortly after, those messages that she said that she'd screenshotted also came to light. This time on her Instagram, she posted what seems to be a WhatsApp exchange, so I don't know, does she have access to his WhatsApp as well? But either way, the caption here read, "I want to show you what an example of abuse is. I repeatedly asked Yohan to change his IG password on the account that I made for him. That's why it's on my phone. Do you know why he doesn't change it? He doesn't change the password because he wants me to see his messages. He wants to make me uncomfortable, even though I'm not interested in his life. This is textbook NPD. NPD standing for Narcissistic Personality Disorder." Honestly, I don't even know where to begin with that. The fact that she feels the need to hack into, or at the very least look at his messages while they're no longer together, remember, is beyond ironic. It feels like some serious projection. Doesn't exactly scream self-awareness. I'm very sorry, Danielle, but we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one. That's not abuse. He's not the narcissist here. That's you invading his personal private messages, sharing them with the world, and yet somehow trying to make it all about you. In exactly the same way as he could have changed his passwords, you could have also deleted his accounts from your phone. No one forced you to keep them on there. Now, eventually, the heat died down a little. Things between them got a little bit quiet. There were rumours that Danielle was in another relationship, potentially, possibly with a woman. She was even speaking about moving to Italy. But fast forward 5 or 6 months, and cryptic posts began to appear on both of their social medias. First, Danielle posted something about forgiveness, and then Yohan posted a photo of him and Danielle together. The caption read "otra vez," or again, but no sooner did the photo go up than he deleted it. Fans didn't quite know what to believe. Surely they weren't getting back together again, right? When asked in a Q&A whether she was getting back with Yohan, Danielle's response was no, he has a girlfriend he lives with in his mother's house. I'm open-minded, but that's not a setup I'm really into at this stage of my life. Now, keep in mind, even though she was saying that, they were still posting photos of themselves together. It was all a bit strange. Within a few weeks, literally weeks after that Instagram, she and Yohan went on vacation together. When asked by confused fans if there was some sort of open marriage going on here, her response was, "We were separated for a year, so it's not unreasonable for him to have been in another relationship. He just needs to end his other relationships if he wants to work on the one he has with me." It definitely seemed to be opening the door for that to happen. Now, around this time, both of them encountered different health concerns. While Danielle's was relatively minor, she sprained her ankle and was asking for prayers, Yohan's seemed a little more serious. He posted a photo of himself in a hospital bed, complete with his urine bag on show, with the caption in Spanish, "Thanks to God, all is okay." Now, there was no elaboration on that. No one really knows what that operation was. There are some theories that perhaps it was linked to a hernia, given his job, he was a fitness instructor. But to this day, we don't actually know. But maybe it's these health conditions that somehow brought out a caring side in each of them, that brought them back together properly. You see, shortly thereafter, Danielle confirmed that they were officially back together. Yohan had apparently proved to her that he was committed by going to therapy and giving up his job. Now, I'll come back to employment shortly, but get this. Despite their rocky past, despite everything that had happened prior to that, immediately these two began to talk about kids. As I'm sure you recall, as we saw on the show, Danielle only had a 5% chance of conceiving naturally. So once again, in a very serious way, they began to explore IVF options. She began going to IVF clinics in America. Quote, "I've been going to IVF appointments for 2 months and I'm planning to have a baby next year, so 2026. I mean, that's crazy, right? Like, hardly the most stable relationship to bring a baby into. Now, as expected, a lot of people couldn't believe that these two were back together, and boy did they make their opinions known. The trolls came out in full force. But Danielle also came out swinging. To that criticism, she said, quote, "I am the only person literally in the entire world who holds this man accountable for his behaviour. Not one of these comments is directed at the abuser, only the abused. No one thinks anything of attacking me all day, every day, because I love my husband and I'm committed to my marriage. And yet everyone feeds him, hands him money and leaves his IG page squeaky clean. Yohan isn't the way he is because of me, he's the way he is because of you." Like, clearly some of those messages touched a nerve. Like, she might have been trying to present herself as the victim and others to blame for everything. She might have been desperately trying to convince us all that she was fighting for her marriage. But predictably, within weeks, literally weeks, everything blew up again. And it all started with a TikTok live.
He had someone who was talking shit about me in his live, and I went in and I muted them, and he was like, "What the hell, why are you blocking my people?" And he was like really just like, he was, I don't want to say he was disrespectful about it, but he was like annoyed with me, like, "Don't come into my live and block my people." He didn't understand like why I was doing it or what exactly they said. He just thought I was controlling him.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of repeated themes cropping up here, right? Danielle just wandering on into his social media, his live, doing what she wants without his permission, blocking his fans, and Yohan interpreting that, rightly some might say, as Danielle trying to control him. This incident apparently led to a huge fight between them. Now, Yohan refused to apologise, and I'm not quite sure of the timescale. It might have been the next day or a couple of days later. After failing to make up after this incident, Danielle turned to her spirits. You might recall she was a practicing witch, and she also practiced the Ifa religion.
I called on every single ancestor, every single deity, every spirit guide that has my best interest at heart, and I said, "These are all the things that I want from my husband. If he is not able to give them to me, please replace him." And he didn't come home last night. And so that's the only time he's ever done that. So I have to feel like that is God.
Now, whether by divine intervention, spiritual guidance, or Yohan just having enough, he left their home and never came back. Heck, he didn't even tell Danielle that he was breaking up with her. He just grabbed his clothes, made an excuse, and left.
You know what's crazy is I think he knew when he left that he wasn't coming home, because he took a bag of clothes and said that he was taking them to wash, that they were dirty and he was taking them to wash or whatever. So I think he knew he wasn't coming back, which makes him even shittier and more disrespectful. So, you know, because he didn't even like have a conversation with me. He just disappeared.
I guess be careful what you wish or pray for, Danielle. Now, in the days and weeks that followed, Danielle decided that enough was enough. That's it, she says. It will never happen again. Me and Yohan are now completely over. But she sounds a little bit bitter about the whole experience.
Do I think it's really over? I know it is. I am certain. I know that people are like, "Oh, you're going to take him back. You're going to take him back." When I am done, I am done. And if you look at my face, I am done. I am so beyond done. The divorce papers are already signed. They just need to be filed. No, we're not going to work it out. No, I'm done. You know, he can't really handle the fact that, like, I'm a boss bitch. Like, he can't handle the fact that I'm on calls all day, that I'm on my computer, that I have all this work to do, that I can do a million things at once. What he wants is for someone to wake up in the morning before he gets up, prepare his coffee for him, come into his room and hand it to him, prepare his breakfast, prepare his lunch, while he kind of sits around. You know, he wants a life where the power gets cut out for 4 hours a day, where he has an outhouse, and when he doesn't feel like going to the outhouse in the middle of the night, he pisses in a bucket next to his bed. You know, mice eating through his clothes. Like, that's the life he desires. He is welcome to it.
Yeah, definitely sounds like she's bitter, doesn't it? Sorry, but if you're such a boss bitch, Danielle, if you know what he's like around the house, and let's not even mention all the cheating as well to boot, it does raise the question, why on earth did you get back together with him? Now, the whole thing actually gets even worse. Honestly, it does. You see, while their relationship may be over, while these two were first getting back together again, they actually went into business together. Yeah, remember how I said Yohan quit his job? Well, his new job was, or is, maybe working with Danielle to provide tours around the Dominican Republic. ATV tours, booze cruises, bar crawls, and VIP, says their Instagram profile. Like, can you just imagine the working dynamic there? It's bizarre, isn't it? Rather than both of them cutting ties and moving on, they're still in each other's lives. And despite what Danielle tries to convince us that it's okay, it's a healthy relationship, it really doesn't sound that way.
And how on earth could I possibly run tours with this man who is such a piece of shit? Here's the thing. Yohan is a great worker.
Oh, really?
Really?
How was today? It was really great. Yohan showed up for work on time. And then as soon as we were done, he immediately asked me if I had money for him. I really cannot believe that this is the person that I married.
Yeah, sounds really healthy. Exactly the kind of work environment everyone wants to be in with your ex. Now, believe it or not, somehow, against all odds, that business does to this day continue. Like, it means they are still in each other's lives, which also means there's always the possibility that they might end up back together again. I mean, there's no clean break here, and they're still yet to file for divorce either. But, notably, both of them also have other forms of income too. Yohan has his OnlyFans, as too does Danielle. At one point they also had a joint one, which they've now stopped. But in addition, Danielle also teaches yoga online and in person. She offers spiritual readings, and she runs group retreats that aim to help people transform or heal, rejuvenate your body, mind and spirit, says her website, and she hosts these retreats at places like Bali and the Dominican Republic. But she's come in for some criticism about how someone with such a toxic relationship of her own can possibly be qualified to teach others.
How can you possibly tell people to heal when these are the relationships that you choose and you're so toxic and yada, yada, yada. The difference between my husband and my work is that in my work, people pay me. They are invested in growing. They're saying, I recognize that I'm fucked up. How can I heal this? You know, help me. And in my husband, he's like, I see no problem.
Notice how her answer there was about her clients and about Yohan, but not about her. Why exactly didn't you heal? Like, why did you take back the toxic ex that cheated on you and stole money from you, Danielle? Like, why do you complain about him yet keep him in your life? I mean, it's an interesting thought, right? Now, Danielle has also been called out for being a hypocrite for supposedly teaching people a healthy lifestyle, whilst at the same time herself openly smoking weed.
I'm just here having my morning coffee, smoking my morning joint with the birds and the bugs making noises. And you're gonna come and hate on my party? Do you wanna know why? Because you don't get to do this.
I mean, not to judge Danielle, but I don't think you should be doing that either, and not for the health consequences, that's none of my business, but more so for the fact that smoking weed is illegal where you live in the Dominican Republic. Maybe not the best idea in the world to go on live streams breaking the law and doing so. Still, whatever she's doing does appear to be earning her money, and considerable money at that. Now, I'm gonna ignore the very unbelievable screenshot that she posted, supposedly showing that she earned over $20 million in 1 month from being a social media influencer. Like, I'm sorry, I find that screenshot very hard to believe when her posts get such little engagement and views. But whatever she is doing seems to be paying her well. I mean, well enough for her to be looking at very expensive high-end matchmaking services. Like, she says she's on the hunt for love, but Tinder just won't cut it for someone as famous as her.
I reached out to 2 matchmaking companies last night. Matchmaking services are so expensive. Like between $30,000 and $100,000. But I feel like after the show, you really can't go on like a regular dating app.
So Danielle is apparently actively on the market looking for love, and Yohan, as we all know, is always very active on that front too. So maybe this time really is the end for Yohan and Danielle, at least romantically. I don't know, like whatever you think of them, one thing you can't deny them of is lacking entertainment and drama. This is a wild roller coaster of a relationship. I mean, they broke up, they made up, they tried for a baby, then they broke up again over a TikTok incident. And now here they are, still legally married, working together, but maintaining it's over. Is it really over, or will there be another third reconciliation? Well, I'll let you be the judge of that.